Two.
You might recall Craig's a college classmate and football team member of Kevin Thompson, Your Honor.
Oh, okay. I do remember that, and I
Yep.
remember the name
Yes, the city
from
of Genesee is
Genesee.
named after his
Yep.
family.
Yep.
Okay, as soon as we get it, looks like we've got audio connections with everyone. This is the matter of Hill versus Hill. Mr. Berkemeyer for the plaintiff, Mr. Jennison for the defendant, and both parties are also present in the Zoom hearing. So, gentlemen, are we going to have a trial today?
Your Honor, I think today what we'd like to do is, with the court's indulgence, inform the court of what progress has been made since we've been last here, and indicate that we'd like to have an adjournment out for maybe a month or two with the idea that we could take proofs today and preserve them. And it's anticipated in the next short period of time, not more than a couple months, we would expect that my client's work schedule will clear up, and that will help us put the final pieces together on a parenting time schedule. There are no property issues, Your Honor, or issues regarding employment benefits or things of that nature.
Is there any conceivable way you could both work really hard and get a judgment of divorce done by the 17th? I realize that's just a week from today.
It's not likely, Your Honor. My client has been requesting for some time. The situation is one where my client lives at Pleasant Lake. The defendant father lives in the Grand Rapids area. And my client works at the University of Michigan Hospital. And we've been not in agreement as to the exchange times to facilitate parenting time once the parenting time goes from one overnight to two overnights, which is anticipated to be at the beginning of March. However, her employment situation is one where they are redoing a schedule, and she has informed her boss, the person that's in charge of doing the scheduling, of her desire for a different schedule that would allow us to accommodate what the father has requested regarding a parenting time schedule.
So the parenting time schedule currently, where it's just, did you say just one overnight?
One overnights is starting January, Your Honor. It's going to run for 2 months, and then two overnights would start in March.
And it's the two overnights that's causing the problem scheduling wise, not the one overnight?
It might not be a problem depending on what's happening with her schedule, which is in the process of being reworked, but it hasn't been done yet.
So the reason I'm asking is the case is going to pass 1 year on December 17th. And I realize the scale's probably not looking too rigorously at timelines, given the way COVID has affected proceedings. But I still like to stay within those guidelines. It's kind of like my report card, and I've always been kind of proud of my report card. Let's put it that way.
Your Honor, maybe could I give a suggestion here, Your Honor?
You can. I was about to make one.
Oh, well, I'll let you go first.
Why don't we enter a judgment of divorce with the 1 day schedule? And if the parties can't agree to what it's going to happen with the 2 day schedule, either one of you can file a motion and get it back in front of me, and I can handle it as a post-judgment matter. And I would definitely expedite that on my calendar.
Your Honor, that's exactly what I was going to say.
That might be a possibility, but it occurs to me, and this is not something that's been discussed, it might be desirable for the parties to be married at the end of the year to file a joint tax return. Did you file joint tax returns last year, Ms. Sill?
We can't hear you, ma'am. I don't know if your microphone's on.
She was.
You check your audio controls. I think you've got your volume on your microphone turned down. In my screen, it's the lower left-hand corner where it says join audio. That'll bring up the audio settings, and I think your microphone is probably turned down.
Can you hear me?
There we go.
Okay.
Yes,
I'm sorry.
no problem.
Yes, we did file a joint tax return last year.
Is this something you've talked, I mean, is the desire to file a joint return for the current tax year?
We haven't discussed it, but I don't see why we would need to.
Well, let's do this. I will take the proofs. Gentlemen, if you are able to work out a consent judgment of divorce that simply leaves that issue open for future determination, but allows a judgment to enter before the 17th, I would greatly appreciate it. If you can't, you can't. I get that. But I'd like to at least nudge you in that direction if there's any way you can do it. So let's take some proofs today and see if we can't get it done. So Ms. Hill, would you raise your right hand, please? You do swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes, I do.
Okay. You could put your hand down now. State your full name, please.
Caitlin Martha Hill.
If I could get you to check your microphone controls again and see if you can turn the volume up a little bit. You're coming through weak. We can hear you, but the volume is low.
I have the volume up as high as it'll go.
All right, if you could just keep your voice up then. Go ahead, Mr. Berkemeyer.
Thank you. Ms. Hill, you caused there to be a complaint for divorce filed in this matter. Is that correct?
Yes,
Were all the allegations in the
Zero
complaint
in.
true at the time you made your complaint?
yes,
On the camera.
The complaint reflects that there's been one child born in the marriage, and that's Poppy A. Hill, who was born May 10th of 2019. Is that correct?
yes,
And are you pregnant or expecting a child at this time?
no,
And Ms. Hill, your complaint states that there's been a breakdown of the marriage relationship to the extent that the objects of matrimony have been destroyed and there's no reasonable likelihood that the marriage can be preserved. Is that still a true statement today?
yes, it is.
Could you just give the court just a brief explanation why you don't think it's possible to save the marriage at this time?
We have had further breakdown of our relationship.
So that allegation remains true, is that correct?
Yes,
Now, you've heard the conversation that's taken place today between the two attorneys and the Honorable LaFlamme. Do you agree that there's no issues regarding the property in this case or employment benefits in this, all the issues resolved around your minor child, Poppy?
yes,
And do you agree that to a large extent, all those issues have been resolved except for a parenting time schedule after parenting time would go to 2 overnights on parenting times?
yes,
So are you asking then the judge to grant a judgment of divorce and sign one once the documentation can be put together and presented to the court?
yes,
I'm satisfied, Your Honor.
Very well. I'm satisfied based on the proofs that there has been a breakdown in the marriage. To the extent the objects of matrimony have been destroyed, there remains no reasonable likelihood the marriage can be preserved. I will sign that consent judgment of divorce upon presentment. Counsel, I hope you're able to get it done. But if not, I won't hold it against you.
Judge, am I putting a control date on there?
Let's give them a new trial date in 2 months, Shannon.
All right, I'll just put that on as a control date.
Okay, yeah, and like I said, my date in terms of preserving my report card with the Supreme Court is December 17th. So if there's any way you can do that, it would be much appreciated.
I marked that on my file, Your Honor. We'll work towards that. Hopefully we can. If we can't, I anticipate we'll still be presenting paperwork at some point showing the full resolution.
Wonderful. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Your Honor. Thank you, Craig.
Thank you, Your Honor. Thanks, Phil. Brandon, I'll give you a call in a minute.
Thank you, sir.
All right. Thank you.
Thank
Have a
you.
good day.
You too.
Now, am I able to exit rear, Your Honor, or should I?
No, you can go out that way. The door will just stay locked behind you.
Nice to see you, Your Honor, and thanks for your
Always-
encouragement. I'm trying to find a way to get this done, and maybe we can. We'll see.
Always good to see you, Phil. Take care. Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
Okay, let's see. Let's bring in, I know I've got a settlement in Maitland. So that's Mr. Hilderly. And Tanner, Sean. Oops, I think I let the wrong person in. Pardon me. Ms. Tanner, I'm going to put you back in the waiting room. Okay, let's see. Mr. Hilderly, I don't see anybody logged in with the name of Maitland. But I do have a Galaxy device and I've got an NCF visiting room. I have no idea what either of those are. I'm going to see who's on the Galaxy. Oh, okay. Looks like it's possible that Mr. Maitland is in the NCF waiting room. Let me try that. I'm letting the Galaxy device in now. Let me know if you recognize your client. Is it her? Okay, ma'am, could you state your name, please?
Heather Maitland.
All right, hold on just a second. And let's see who's in the NCF visiting room. Does that appear to be Mr. Maitland?
Yes, sir.
Okay, hold on a minute.
Another one.
Okay, Mr. Hilderly, both Mr. and Mrs. Maitland are present.
Who's Brian represent?
Mr. Hilderly represents the plaintiff. My understanding is there isn't any property issues involved here. It's simply a matter of getting the parties divorced. Is that correct, Mr. Hilderly?
Yes, Your Honor, that's correct.
Mr. Maitland, do you oppose granting of a judgment of divorce?
No, sir.
And you agree that there aren't any property issues in dispute between you and Ms. Maitland?
Yes, I don't. There is nothing to split or anything.
Okay, very good. I think I just need to take some proofs then, Mr. Hilderly.
Yes, that's correct, Your Honor. And then I did email, I don't know if you received it. I didn't realize you were back at the perfect.
Ms. Maitland, would you raise your right hand, please?
Is that
You do swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes.
State your full name for the record.
Heather Winnie Maitland.
We need a little more volume again. Go ahead, Mr. Hilderly. You can put your hand down now.
Miss Maitland, can you hear me okay?
Yes,
Did you file a judge or a complaint for divorce in this matter with the Jackson County Circuit Court?
yes,
And when you filed that complaint for divorce, were all of the allegations contained within the complaint true and accurate?
yes,
And those allegations continue to be true and accurate, correct?
yes,
Were there any minor children born or adopted during this marriage?
no,
And you are not currently pregnant, correct?
no,
And has there been a breakdown of the marriage relationship to the extent that the objects of matrimony have been destroyed?
mm, I mean, I just have a lot of stuff going on, so
No, I'm asking you if there's been a breakdown of the marital relationship.
a breakdown.
I'm sorry, it's statutory language that's required in order to have a divorce. So has your relationship with Mr. Maitland broken down to the degree that the objects of your marriage have been destroyed?
Yes,
And do you believe there's a reasonable likelihood of reconciliation?
no,
And you're asking the court to grant a divorce today, correct?
yes,
And you agree that there are no joint assets or debts that need to be divided as part of this divorce, correct?
yes,
Thank you, Judge.
One last question, Ms. Maitland. Can you confirm that during your marriage to Mr. Maitland, that you did not have any children that were not his?
yes, I confirm.
All right, thank you. I'm satisfied based on the proofs. There has been a breakdown in the marriage to the extent the objects of matrimony have been destroyed. There remains no reasonable likelihood that the marriage can be preserved. I'm going to sign the judgment of divorce, dissolving this marriage, awarding each party whatever property they currently have in their own possession or name. And restoring Ms. Maitland's name prior to the marriage. I will sign that judgment of divorce, and Mr. Maitland, a copy of it will be mailed to you. Did you have any questions of me, sir?
No, sir.
All right, you are divorced. We'll get that paperwork out shortly. Thank you, Mr. Hilderly. Have a good
Thank you,
day.
Judge. You too. Heather, I'll give you a call, okay?
Okay,
All right. Have a good day, folks.
All
you
right.
too.
Okay, Tanner versus Tanner. Counsel, state your appearances, please.
Shelley Duggan on behalf of Chad Tanner.
Philip Navar appearing on behalf of plaintiff Sean Tanner.
Shelley Duggan on behalf of
Okay.
defendant Chad Tanner.
And I think I saw somewhere you folks have reached an agreement. Are you prepared to enter a judgment of divorce today?
We're not prepared to enter the judgment today, Your Honor. All the paperwork has been prepared. The judgment's been approved by the friend of the court, John Manser. I have his signature. We prepared the UCSO, the USSO. We reference a confidential marital dissolution agreement regarding property. And I have a IRS 8332 form prepared and ready for signature. And we have an agreement. It's a consent judgment. I provided the documentation to opposing counsel last Friday. Her client works for Janex and is required to work out of state. He's out of state and is in an area where there's difficulty in communication with his counsel. So we anticipate having the proposed judgment signed along with the USO and USSO and UCSO. And my client will sign an 8332 releasing her right to claim the child as a dependent for tax year 2020. We anticipate that'll happen in the very near future and can present the same to your honor. It's my understanding that the defendant will be back in the area and wishes to meet face-to-face with counsel on the, I think the 19th is what you had indicated, Shelley?
Yes, that's when he expects to be back in Michigan.
All right, so we just need
So
to
what
enter
we'd like
some
to do,
proofs.
judges, I'd like to take proofs with my client for a pro confesso hearing and preserve those and present the judgment when it's been executed by the parties and attorneys.
We are currently experiencing some audio connection issues with your client. If you could give me her phone number, I can try to get her on the phone and we can take the proofs that way.
That would be fine, Your Honor. It is area code 517-914-9310.
Looks like we might have a connection. Ms. Tanner, can you hear me?
He doesn't have audio, Judge.
Yeah, and her image is frozen, so I think she's having connection problems. Let me see. Hopefully she's not using her phone to do this, but
No.
Oh, wait a minute. I've got an iPad logged in. Let's see if that's.
Hello,
Is this Sean Tanner?
this is her.
Okay, Ms. Tanner. We had your image frozen, but we can
Yep.
we can do this over the phone. You can keep the iPad open. We can at least see you.
Okay,
But I'm going to mute that microphone just in case it connects,
okay.
so that we don't get some feedback going here. So, well, it won't let me mute it. All right. Would you raise your right hand, please? You do swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
State your full name for the record.
Sean Renee Tanner.
Go ahead, Mr. Navarre.
Thank you, Your Honor. Sean, can you see and hear me okay?
I can.
Were the allegations in your complaint for divorce true when you signed them, and do they remain true today?
Yes,
Is Riker the only child that was born or adopted during this marriage?
yes,
Are you at this time?
I know that broke up, ma'am. He asked you, are you pregnant?
no,
And is there any chance of reconciliation?
absolutely not.
You've had an opportunity to review the proposed judgment of divorce. Does it fairly and equitably divide the marital estate?
It does.
Are you seeking the entry of an absolute judgment of divorce?
I am.
Thank you, Your Honor. I have no further questions of my client, Your Honor. And upon presentation of a approved consent judgment to support orders, we would move for entry of an absolute judgment of divorce in this matter.
I am satisfied based on the proofs that there has been a breakdown in this marriage, that the objects of matrimony have been destroyed, and there remains no reasonable likelihood that the parties can reconcile. I will grant a consent judgment upon presentment. It sounds like it's very, very near. What was the date, Ms. Duncan? You said you'd be reviewing it with your client?
I believe he said he'd be back in Michigan by the 19th. He'll be traveling over that weekend prior. I didn't know if you'd be
Uh, let-
available, Judge.
Let's
week?
just set a, I expect I will. We still, our holiday plans are kind of up in the air. We never know. We have to wait till the last minute till our kids tell us what they're doing. So I know we won't be traveling, but whether I'm taking time off or not is probably going to be decided at the last minute. But let me just give you a control date.
Okay.
So we've got something on the calendar. Let's see. Let's set this December 31 as the control date.
Okay.
And frankly, if you run into a snag and you need me to push that out a little bit, I don't have a problem. You guys are well within the time period for resolving this, so I'll be flexible with you there.
Judge,
Thank you,
we
Your
need
Honor.
this entered before, we need this judgment entered before the new year.
Oh, okay.
And I
We'll
say
make
that
sure it
because,
happens.
yeah, and I would indicate to the court that if you wish me to email that, should that be to your court officer bailiff? Or should I send it to your secretary? I know that there's been problems with the clerk's office.
You can send it to Dawn. And frankly, you can send it to me. So if by chance I happen to be home on one of those days, I can certainly sign it, scan it back to the clerk's office and make sure that it gets entered before the end of the year.
Okay, I'll do that, Your Honor. And I appreciate your time and consideration today. And appreciate you getting this entered before the end of the year. My office is going to be closed, and I'm going to be gone from Christmas Eve through the new year. So I'd like to get that taken care of. And if he's back in the weekend of the 19th, we could have the 21st to 22nd, 23rd, and that should give us plenty of time.
I'll make sure we get it done.
Thank you, Shelley.
Sure.
Okay, very good. Have a nice day, folks.
Thank you, Your Honor.